I'm surprised you weren't recording.
The recording has begun. Oh, it gave me a little noise then. Did everyone else hear that? Oh, okay. I'm just glad.
Yes.
I've not heard that before. Okay.
No.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Avidmode Chats. Today we are having a discussion, but first of all, let's check in with how everyone's doing. I think we did Robin first last time. So Kitty, you're up first. How are you doing?
Are you never going to be first then?
No.
Okay.
I'm always last.
How am
I
I
put
doing?
myself in the middle.
I'm having a long week. It's bank holiday on Monday, and I'm prepared for the fact that it's going to be a 4-day week next week. So I'm trying to get ahead of myself.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I've got a 3-day week next week, so I've got paid time off on Friday. So I've got to squeeze everything into that 3-day in the middle, which
When I've got my second jab on Sunday.
that's exciting. You're going to be ready to face the world.
I am.
Are you gonna go out and do exciting things, or are you just
Are
gonna?
you talking to me?
Yeah.
The gamer, the reader.
Well, I just
the
thought,
music listener.
maybe you'd go swimming, or
Well,
you
maybe.
could.
I did get a text from David Lloyd in Maidenhead waiving their thingy fees this morning. So maybe.
Oh, okay.
Not quite sure I'm that brave yet.
Not brave yet. No, I'm not sure I would be either. Robin, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I've just been startlingly reminded that it's bank holiday, and now I'm panicking at things I need to realise. I'm terrible with the dates. I don't keep track of anything because I've literally not remembered that that's a thing.
Yeah.
So,
No. I always forget bank holidays. I think it's an easy one to forget when you don't have the school holiday situation going on, because it's easy to remember, kids always have school off.
Yeah.
But if you're just like us, none of us sort of have any interactions with kids in school, it's like
No.
you forget that it's a thing. Actually, also because it's June soon.
It is.
Everybody.
Which means switch over to June next week. So
which means it's almost Christmas.
Goodness sake. Somebody
we had
Christmas at BNI for the first time this week.
Who did?
The plumber.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to get your bathrooms and stuff done by Christmas, you really need to start thinking about booking us in now, because we're already taking bookings for October onwards.
They are always booked up really far in advance, aren't they?
Sorry, Robin.
Me and Gemma have had this discussion already, and I instigated a rule that I think you'll agree with, even if she doesn't. She can start telling me it's almost Christmas when it hits 20 degrees on a summer hot day.
It's hitting 20 degrees today.
Is it sunny though?
Yes.
No, it's not sunny.
Yes, it is sunny. Oh, where you
cloudy,
are.
it's all hell.
Okay, you're like 10 minutes down the road from me. I think it counts.
And I don't see sunshine, is all I'm saying.
You're on the wrong side of the building for sunshine.
No, I'm not. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is the right side.
I don't care.
Gemma.
It's almost Christmas. I will get my way eventually, next week or the week after. I'm doing fine. I am busily trying to get some bits and bobs finished up before the weekend, because that is hitting us like a truck very soon. I am getting my first jab. Jim and I are getting our jabs on Tuesday. So that will be exciting. Other than that, nothing too exciting. Thankfully, I don't need too much more excitement in my life at the moment. So fine with that. Okay. Well, today we wanted to discuss a little bit about something that we recently had a question about from actually Athena, my Athena group, and that is website investment and how much it actually costs to get a website done. I think this is going to be a very difficult question to answer straight out of the gate, but how much does a website cost? There it is on the table.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I think the client needs to be very clear about what their goals are before you can even answer that question. Because I think we've had a lot of unhappy clients come to us from where they've had their initial website built for £500 and they're really, really upset 3 years later because the website's not doing anything. Well, it wouldn't, because you've bought a brochure website. You've pretty much bought a website that is like your business card. it's your home on the web, it's a shop window for you, but it's not going to do anything else. You probably haven't been maintaining it, you probably haven't been blogging, it's probably not got the SEO elements on it, and it probably hasn't been built for conversion. And that's not the original web development company's problem. It's honestly, it's not something that they've done wrong. You know, that they've spoken to the person at the time and explained to them and seen their budget, seen their needs, and said, okay, we'll build you a brochure website. And then over time, people hear, oh, well, my website's doing this, my website's doing that, and people start to think, well, my site's not doing that, they've given me a bad website or a disservice. And I think that's a big problem, because it's not. There's an evolution, right? You might start with a small website, but you have to evolve it. It's never static.
No.
So I think that's probably where we need to come at it from, talk about what a brochure site looks like, and maybe how you bolt onto that over time without having to keep rebuilding it every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And then the other tactic, which is to rebuild it every 2 to 3 years, because there's two very clear paths.
Yeah, it is important that understanding's there, because there's so many instances where you are a new business and you don't really know, you're not sure where you're going to be in 3 years time, 5 years time. So the developer at that time, or your agency that's working with you, can't build the website for you that's going to work for you in the future. They're building a website that works for you now, something that shows off who you are, but it's not going to position you in a wrong way. It's just going to basically, as you said, be that business card. And it's quite difficult to understand that, because even me coming into it didn't understand that there's sort of different levels of what a website can do for you. There is the business card website, there is an e-commerce website, there are websites that are just going to be great for lead generation and some that just aren't. So yeah, it's not easy to wrap your head around that, but those low cost websites where someone is charging a lower price is more likely to be something like a brochure website, because there's less time invested in it, right?
Absolutely, there's less time invested in it. The only time where it isn't is maybe where you've got a graduate out of uni where they're trying to build their portfolio, they're a freelancer, and they're doing cheaper websites. Although I would argue that learning at university, or actually having practical experience on user experience and content and conversion rate optimization are two different things. So I wouldn't expect to pay the price for somebody who's been doing it for 15 years as somebody coming out of uni.
Yeah,
so there are you know, various different scales in terms of that as well.
and then also those people will eventually, their prices will go up.
They will.
The more that they interact with people in the web design industry, they'll go, actually, I could be charging a lot more for what I'm doing.
You know, if you're a freelancer, and we're not, I used to be a freelancer. If you're a freelancer, there are only so many hours that you can sell of your time a day, and therefore your time is what you're charging on, and actually value-based pricing is the way to go, because if you're selling on time, it's really painful. So you have to be thinking, am I paying the person a fair wage? Am I paying for something that is an investment for my company? Because remember, that is a sales tool, that is a sales channel. It's just like buying a piece of manufacturing equipment. That website should be working for you and earning you money. And therefore you don't buy a website, you invest in a website. It's two very different things. Websites are not commodities in that way.
Yeah, it's not a one and done situation. Your website needs iteration and working on over time in order for it to work for you, which it should be doing. And that is another one of those things that comes up quite often, where it's like, okay, I want a website and I just want it to do a thing, but it takes a lot more than that for it to actually work, because it's a marketing tool. You need to use the tool to get the benefit from it.
I have a useful analogy, I think.
Oh, here she goes.
It's like the yellow pages. You can put your details in the yellow pages, you know, originally, and your information is there about your business. Hey, 5 years down the line, you're still in the yellow pages with still the same details, but you've changed your details.
Yeah,
it's not going to help your business.
Pages not being delivered, right? It might be sitting in all of the phone boxes around town, but if it's people aren't taking it in through their front doors and using it constantly, and it's not being updated with the latest information, phone numbers and so on, then absolutely you've lost your way.
Yeah,
that was quite an old reference, by the way. Like
it was.
Yellow pages. We don't even get the yellow pages.
Yeah, that shows my age, doesn't it? A little
bit.
You
mean before our time? We had the yellow pages.
We did.
It petered out just as we were growing up, I think. But I showed my age a little bit there.
Oh, bless you. I think one of the other things is understanding who you are purchasing your website from, who your designer is, who your developer is, and understanding the scope of understanding that person has to build your website. Because I've spoken with quite a few people and they've said, I had my website's beautiful, I absolutely love it. It's gorgeous, but it's not doing anything for me. And a lot of the time these websites are beautifully built. Honestly, they are the most gorgeous things, but there's nothing to them. There's no SEO done, there's no sort of work on the content or the customer journey. And that often tends to be a problem between a graphic designer building the frontage of a website and a developer putting in the time and the effort to work out what the customer journey is. And that's another aspect that's important.
And I think some of the best results that you can get, we do in-house graphic design, but we also work with a lot of graphic designers. And the way that we tend to do that is we will do the kick. There'll be potentially a marketer involved, potentially be us involved, and there'll be a graphic designer involved, and we can do all of that in-house because we have the expertise to do so. But actually bringing in different people to do it can be really good. So we would sit down with the client and we would have a kick-off meeting and we would find out all about their business, all three of us together. Then we would draw up, so the marketing person would probably do the brief. From that we would then draw up the wireframes, so build that customer journey in association with the marketing piece to make sure you're moving people through the funnel in the right way, putting the calls to actions in the right places. Only once that framework is done does it then go to the designer to create that fantastic look and feel that's also going to resonate with the audience, because you want the psychological bits and the user journey bits in place before you go on to the flourishes. And we've worked with lots of designers, MDM Creative, Joshua's James, Annie, over at
Phase 2.
Yes, and they're all fantastic designers. We love working with them, and everyone brings it to the table. But quite often you're absolutely right, you've only got one set of expertise working on it for you, and that can be where you end up. And that's if your budget's £500, you're not going to get that. You just can't. It's not feasible.
And just be aware of that, jumping in with both feet, that if that is what you're looking, or if that's what your price range is, that's probably what you're going to get, because that's
our
the
hourly
expertise.
rate is on the low side, right, of web design agents. I think we range from £40 an hour for maintenance, £70 odd an hour for graphic design work, and £120 an hour for consultancy, coding and so on. That's actually quite low. And then when you think about how long it takes to code something, so for instance Daniel at the moment is working on a booking system, isn't he? He's building developing a booking system from scratch. He is now 260 hours into that project at £120 an hour. So if you wanted to buy that, you'd have to be a very large organization, which is why we do it as a plug-in, and you just license it annually from us and all of that kind of stuff. So I think you have to think about how many hours are involved as well with these projects, because it's
something that might seem simple to you because you're seeing the visual element of it doesn't mean that actually in hindsight it is as simple as it looks, because
easy to code.
There's also a thought process, right? Like as we were saying, the customer journey isn't necessarily just they're gonna scroll through and click that. No, we have to think about the pros and cons to getting them to click in certain places on the page and where their interest will be lost.
Yeah.
So we are thinking so much deeper than just top level, and I think that is what you pay for. Like if you're paying 500 quid, they're not going to spend that time. They're going to say, this is what your business is, that you're going to need a brochure website, and that's it. There is no, oh, we've got to think piece by piece entirely through the entire website what a person is.
Quite often brochure websites are templates, right? They're pre-built, they're pre-used. People just change the colors and change logos, and we offer that service for startups because it's absolutely something that they need.
It's relevant for certain businesses.
Relevant when you're just starting, or even a page landing page, which we've done for people as well. So there is a place for it, and I think that where it gets lost in translation is where someone's made an investment in day one, and then they're very upset by year 3 because their website isn't performing. And well, no, it wasn't designed not to perform. But the concept that you purchased was not a lead generation website,
and it was built for year 1 and not for year 3.
Which you can't build for year 3. I mean, if I look at Avidmode and how we've changed since 2007, shocking. It's not even close.
I feel like if you tried to build for year 3 in year 1, you would literally still be building the website in year 3 because you've just been working on iteration after iteration after iteration without it going live, which is also another problem that we wanted to sort of bring up here, is that when you are investing into a website, understanding, you go in with your goal, right? You want a website for any reason that you might want a website. Understanding that sometimes the goal of the website might actually move, the scope of that project might move along with you. It might, in your mind, you might think, okay, well, it's going to take me, it's going to take them a month to make me a website, when actually after working with you and understanding who you are and who your business is, actually you're going to need a bit more development on that website. And then as we go along, that website's not taking a month anymore because we've added new parts and we've had discussions in the meantime. And that's something that often comes up in design.
It's quite a bit of friction as well, because we like to say that we get most websites done within 8 to 12 weeks, and that ideally that is how quickly you want to iterate on a website, because it's that capsule moment in time. It's short enough that no massive business changes have taken place unless you're on a cusp like pandemic or something like that. So you're quite safe in that period of time. I think when something starts to move to 6 months and a year, which we've had in the last couple of years, we've had a couple of projects that for various reasons, content wasn't ready, all sorts of things weren't ready, and then by the time the client has got round to doing the content, actually their business has changed massively. And that whole user experience and workflow with the website doesn't work anymore. And then you've got a bit of a problem, haven't you? Because you've built like a technical spec on day one, and you've developed alongside a premium plugin possibly, which does all the heavy lifting and everything that they want. And then by the time you get to there, you go, oh my gosh, well, actually the plugin that we bought, I could have done with custom code a lot quicker. And then the problem is that's unpicking the entire website and rebuilding it. So it's tricky. I really don't like setting launch dates for websites when they first come in, because you don't know what the turnaround times are going to be like. Clients don't know what's going to happen in their business. There's perfect valid reasons for taking a break from the website build. It would be lovely if we were their number one priority, but we're not. The priority is to run their business, keeping cash flow going, and so on. So I think also that's an interesting question, because how involved do you want to be?
There's a lot of the time we want the people that we're working with to be involved, so that they understand once their website's launched what they can do with it, what it's enabling them to do, so they can go in and they can change things, or they can market things in certain ways through their website. And I think that's an important part of it, is the education piece. But not everyone wants to be that invested into their website. And if you don't, that's entirely fine. If you don't want to invest your time into the website that much, that's absolutely fine in and of itself.
It's understanding the ramifications of that.
Yeah.
And people being upfront. I think that isn't the conversation that's had, because it's lovely to build a website which is hands off. You know, the client doesn't want to be involved. They just say to you, here's the brief, this is what I want, this is my assets, away you go, we build it, it's a done deal. The only problem with that is there isn't the creative back and forth between the client, the digging into their values, the digging into their business goals, the helping them to understand how they're going to maintain it and improve that conversion rate for the website over time and build traffic to it. So I think those are quite hard conversations to have.
Yeah.
It's like having a multi-tool. It's like us having a multi-tool, building a multi-tool for somebody and giving it to somebody, and them not really knowing what it is and us telling them exactly how to use it, but then them actually saying, well, actually, give me the multi-tool, sure, I might need it one day, but actually, I don't care how it works. I don't want to know how this works. I just want it to exist in my toolbox.
Yeah.
Because one day I may need it, right? And that's exactly a website in its function is a multi-tool, because it is partly your business card. It's your home on the web. It's your lead generation if it is built that way. It is your shop if it is built that way. It's so many things. It's your presence on social media if you're posting about it. So it is that kind of function, and it's the you can buy it and say, actually, I don't want to know anything because that's not my place of interest, and that is completely valid. And I don't want to be a builder.
That's a brochure website, right? If you're just using it as a calling card, that is what it is, but please do not expect it to perform, because you have to feed the monster.
You do. And also understand that it's not easy by any means as a small business owner, by a medium business owner, for you to literally do everything. You know, it's going to be difficult to do that. I mean, we work as a group of 4, and even within the 4 of us, it's difficult for us to run a small business because everything needs to be done here and there at the same time. And if you're working on your own, asking you to do 5 social media posts a week on each of your platforms, to do your blog post, to update your website, to have your website built for you in the first place, whilst doing everything else you have to do for your business.
I mean, we're quite lucky because we have freelancers and people who do stuff for us, so in that respect we are lucky. But yes, you're absolutely right, you need to reach out and get that resource. If you have a goal that you need to get to, I think it's really worth sitting down with a marketing person and the web person and really thrashing out what effort is required to get to that goal from what you've got.
Because some of these websites, I mean, some of the websites we build for people events wise or with lots of different products, the upkeep on those isn't simple. It's not easy to do. A lot of the time there's a lot of customer service involved or support involved, and that's not something that automatically goes into your head. If you're running your business and doing customer service via phone or face to face, you're now going to have to do that through your website as well. And balancing that is not easy.
No, and it doesn't matter what platform you're on. It doesn't matter if it's WordPress. It doesn't matter if it's Shopify. It doesn't matter if it's BigCommerce. Wix. There is upkeep to be done, and response to your visitors and so on.
For sure.
I also think that's a really important point that Gemma's brought up about having a shop. If you have something on a shop, that's fine, but do keep in mind that is something that you will have to keep track of product wise and stuff wise. And if it's only something that you kind of like you don't keep an eye on, you're going to lose track of everything, and it does a disservice to your website to not keep that updated.
And to your business. A lot of the time, I think this is one of those things where it's like when I worked at the train company, and we would be great on the phone and we were fantastic by email, but the moment you sent something by post, it was gone. It was basically lost to the wind because it had not gone to head office, it had gone to side office, and it just got lost. It's like, oh, something sent to head office is going to take you 3 weeks to get a response. Something sent to side office is going to take you about 3 months to get a response. If you're giving off that impression via your website because you're not being very quick on responses, or you're not updating things as often as people might like, it might be giving your business a bad impression just from having that there. So understanding the amount of time, it's not only that it takes to build the website, but to put into the website as a resource afterwards to upkeep that.
I think we live in a world of, in quite a way, it's quite scary that we live in a world of instant gratification when it comes to shopping online.
Yeah.
So when you have a shop, it is expected that you will be heard from within an X amount of days. Even bespoke shops like stuff on Etsy, you expect to either hear from the seller or get confirm of dispatch within a certain amount of time, unless they disclaim it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks to send you something. So
and then it actually takes 6 months, but we won't get into that conversation because I'm still salty.
And me, my masks. I ordered coronavirus masks that took about 6 months to get. I mean, the virus was still going on, so it was fine. But
I ordered Robin a Christmas present last November, and it arrived last week.
Oh no! Oh, your pajamas, right? Your cute pajamas.
Yeah. My beautifully fashioned pajamas. I love.
Yes.
So, thinking about the investment in a website, I think the thing to think about and to be open about, I know when you say, because it's always it's funny, it's such a funny circular conversation. You sit down with a client and you say, well, what's your budget? And actually their immediate reaction is, well, you're asking my budget because you want to fleece me and you're going to charge up to my budget. Well, actually, no, that's not why we're asking the question at all. The question around budget is, what is your appetite? Because there are so many ways to do things. I can create you a brochure website if your budget is 500 quid. I can't produce you an all singing, all dancing lead generation website if your budget is £500. So I think being upfront with what your investment is, and also thinking it's always worth also maybe thinking about, you know, what's the cost of creating this website for me? How much is it going to cost me to maintain? How much is it going to cost me to drive traffic to it? How much is it going to cost me to keep iterating on that website to work out, to improve the conversion rate? And then also, what is the life span of that website? When am I going to need to think about spending more again to get it upgraded? So I think budget conversations are super important, and that most answers to that question I get oh, I haven't really thought about it, I don't know, or
what can you do it for,
or what can you do it for? And that's the wrong approach actually. It's better to have an open and frank conversation, because I don't care if you've got 750 quid, I will build you the best thing I can for that to help your business. But it's better to say to me, I've got, you know, I'm working to this budget, this is what I'm looking at the moment, and then we can find something that's going to match your purse strings.
Or we can send you to someone that actually will be able to offer you
more
something.
More than happy to pass people along if they're looking for something that we can't provide. I mean, we
often do that for out of our range ones.
No, absolutely. And even out of our expertise. I think in business you always have to be respectful of the customer and own up when it's not in your wheelhouse, it's not something you can do, and it's not something that you can do for the cost. And send them on. We know so many web agencies and are friendly with lots of them, and we know them, so we know how they code, we know that what they're going to provide is a decent service. Totally happy to hand off to them. So be open, honest and frank about what that budget is.
And there's go ahead. I was going to say, and even if it's lower than the numbers we're saying now, as Kitty said, we do consultation fees as well. Like if you've got a website and you're thinking of building a new one and you think, oh, actually no, I can't afford to build that entirely new brochure website, there is nothing to say that you can't pay for
an hour.
an hour session just to say, what direction do you think I should be taking this in? Just for that little bit of advice that you can either come and bring back to us when it's time, or go and take somewhere else, or do it yourself. Like,
absolutely, we quite happily do a discovery call like that of top 5, top 10 tips of things that you can do today to improve that site. You just get on the phone with me, or with me and Jem, or with me, Robin, and all 3 of us, just hop on a call and brainstorm. And you even get some cutesy drawings of potentially wireframes that we're doodling whilst we're talking to you. So there is massive value in doing that if you want to build yourself. We also do full coaching alongside our websites as well, for people who want that, who really want to understand how to run that online business. We've had some good success with that, but there's homework involved. There's quite a bit to do over the course of that 12 to 16 weeks. Sometimes those ones do run to about 16 weeks. And it's literally meeting once a week, going through, having homework, doing all the prep work, all of that kind of stuff. But at the end of it, you've got a solid idea of what you need to do to build, to move on next.
Because that is something actually that we don't really speak about often, but it's difficult to understand where you are at any given spot. And I think some of the clients that we built a website a while back. It was like 4 years ago that we've got a website for, but we're still coaching the owner of that website now on new parts of her website, on new marketing ideas. Basically every month is a catch up for her, so that she's caught up to where she is right now and what she could be doing to make that better going forwards. And it's actually really handy to have that, because it resets your brain every month and you go, okay, well, this is what I need to focus on this month. So it entirely depends how you want to do it, really, doesn't it? It's not a one size fits all at all in our agency.
It's not. And even with we did a lovely little website with Sarah Walker, didn't we? From It's Ideal Marketing. We did the Maidenhead Bikeathon website, and that's a small website, brochure size, but it's not a brochure website. It is a bespoke design, layout and build. And again, that's if you've got all the information that you need up front, you've got all of the content, you've got all the imagery, you've got all of that kind of stuff, you can get something really good for a really good price with our expertise behind it.
And it'll be fast. Usually it's something that can be done.
Depends how much to and fro there is in terms of content.
Or how much content. I mean, if there's like 85 pages worth of content, it might take a while.
I think that is where the difference is having that up front, right? Is having, if you have all of that ready and you're just like, okay, it's just there, it does generally mean that the only things that are changed are minor design tweaks that are like, I don't like that color blue, let's change it to a brighter one. So like they're things that are fundamentally easy to change, as long as it's not too much back and forth. It's a good thing.
And those things, I think that's the one part of the design and development process that's quite hard to keep a pin in, because you can easily say, hey, we're going to have this done for you at this time, but that back and forth in between then moves that goalpost forward. And it will do. That's not anything that we shouldn't try and stop that by any means, because you want the website, or we want the website that comes with our name on it to be the website that you want in the end. So if it takes that time, all that's going to perform and be exactly what you want. But it does sometimes take a little give on both sides in terms of timing for that to happen, because
it's a hard one, isn't it?
It is.
Everyone sees Wix and those kinds of websites and Squarespace, and they don't always spend a lot of time testing what they've built, but there is a big testing phase that goes on after all content is in, and just to make sure that everything really does join up and it really does work from a user experience perspective, from a device perspective. All of the SEO checks that we do on websites, lots and lots of things. And quite often that's the bit that gets squeezed, because by the time the clients have provided the content, they've done the content tweaks, they're chomping at the bit to launch,
get it going.
And I think we're not always very good at pushing back on that, and I need to just put my foot down a bit more, but that is a really important phase of...
Well, if you think about it like this, we often have 3 people doing testing on that website before it goes out. That's Dan, and then whoever else, either one of us 3 plus another person doing that testing from all kinds of different perspectives. I mean, I don't know a huge amount about the technological back end of websites, but my God,
you can break them quite happily.
I can break them pretty well.
Just like Sophie from Dream Marketing. If you want anything tested, get Sophie involved.
But you know what I mean? Like, those things, they take time. It's not a, second. I was doing links today and updating links on a website, and it took me a good hour for what was essentially 7-8 pages to get that all right, to get the images right, to make sure everything was spaced right on that website. But it actually takes quite a lot of hands-on time for us to do those things. And then 3 of us are doing it.
Magic.
Oh God, if it was magic, it would be amazing.
Wouldn't it be great?
Yeah.
Miss teases me all the time. She says, "Oh, you've only got to drop the content in," and she sees her face wrinkle and go, "Well, that's not how it works."
I've got to think so much more about it than just, because I often, if it's a copy document, I have to dissect each and every section to make sure it fits perfectly into the spaces that are built, as well as making sure that, obviously, another part that comes with it that's probably unspoken about is copy checking, just to make sure that spelling errors,
we spell check everything, and there are always grammatical errors, always, without fail.
And we try not to change, we don't change the content at all, but where we see grammatical errors or misplaced punctuation, all of those types of things, we also go through and do that as we're building, which means that is also another separate set of time, because I'm not just not reading the content and chucking it in. We are scoping through the entire thing and bringing up where something isn't right.
No,
and we have our content module, obviously, where clients can now drop in their own content, which is fantastic, because I think that visual element of people being able to see where it goes on the page also helps. So when you talk to a web agency, quite often they're either going to be an agency that wants all of your content up front, or they want to do the designs and then you create your content to fit it. I think the way we like to do it is, if it's a small template website, we want everything from you up front, images, content, and so on, and then we can build that template around it, done, dusted. If you're spending a little bit more money, then you go through the whole wireframe process, and in that case, don't give us the content up front, because you don't know what's going to be needed.
And how much you're going to want to put in after that process is done.
And that's where the content module is beautiful, because then you can do it in line. You might have your copy document with you because you've written it up either by hand or you've got it in a Word document, and then you can move stuff over, switch it around, change your headlines, change images out, all of that kind of stuff to suit your purposes.
So essentially, the content module is your website, which is created. It's not live, it's not anything like, it's not even a real actual version of the website, but it's got all the boxes for you to fill things in. So you can change your images, you can change your titles, you can change all these bits and bobs through the website, and then it's like you can see it
into a visual Word document.
Or like how you would if you're using Wix or templates on Squarespace, where there's just sections for you to place things into. That's essentially what it is, but it's our own Daniel built. We need to have a little stamp on it.
So much trouble for calling it the content module, because I'm pretty sure that's not what it's called.
Wait, it has a name?
Yeah, it does have a name.
I always call it the content module or the module.
So do I, and he scowls at me when I do that. I'm pretty sure that's not what it's called.
Okay. we need to have a team discussion about what it's called, because maybe we need a team discussion for the booking one as well. That could go wrong.
We need a general discussion over naming conventions and everything, because we also we do stuff like staging and development sites and the separation between them. And I said about staging the other day, and Daniel was like, "That's not where it is. Like, do not talk to me about staging." I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to mess with your naming convention.
Oh, it's easily done.
And that's another thing that can cause all sorts of
Mm-hmm.
miscommunication and stuff during web projects, isn't it? It's around what something is called,
Mm-hmm.
around,
Yeah.
understanding what a menu is, understanding what the navigation is, understanding how video is hosted on a website or not, streamed from you and embedded from YouTube, Wistia or Vimeo, and why and which platform you would use for each type of video. That these are in-depth conversations that you need to have during a web build, which take time and education. So it's not as simple as the designer sitting there or the web developer sitting there in a darkened room, just coding away, beavering away for a couple of hours and going, ta-da!
Yeah.
Here you are.
Yeah.
It's done.
Exactly. And I think you can find those developers, and those developers do amazing work. But us specifically, we like that portion where we can
help you to grow your business,
help you to grow and understand what the web really can do for you, because the more you understand it, the more you can gain from it.
Or as our tagline says, making the web work for you.
Yeah, exactly. Do we have that on as our tag? I don't think we do.
I do use it on something. So.
Oh, isn't it on the email?
Yes.
Making the web work for you. I think it's on our email signature.
It's also on our pens.
I did that.
I know, I had one somewhere. I had it on my desk. I don't know where.
Don't tell Daniel, because he'll go, that's really American. What are you doing?
Well, there's nothing wrong with being a bit American.
It's a bit of fun. I like stationery, and it's fun. So
yes, exactly.
I was going to say something.
Oh, go on.
No, what was it? Always assume you're coming into the project with a language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean by that, but for me, the thing that I struggle with, I notice that I struggle with it, is I speak in designer language.
Mm-hmm.
I have been doing this for a long time, and I know the correct terminology in design terms for the things that I am doing. And I try to make sure that I am speaking both the client's language and teaching them my own language at the same time. But on both sides, there has to be an understanding that, hey, sometimes we aren't speaking the same language. And there has to be that little bit of give in both directions, that, hey, I need to change my language for you, but you also might need to learn a few of my words so that I can better do my job for you.
And so that
to do something.
You can go on and have a conversation with somebody else as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not the end of your journey.
No.
It's the start of your journey.
Yeah, exactly. I think even between us three, we sometimes say things that, I mean, I'd often put my foot in my mouth and say all kinds of things that I'm not meaning, like not in a bad way, but like I'll say the wrong thing and you'll look at me and go, okay, are you sure that's what you meant? And I use the word thing a lot. When I don't mean thing, there's a name. Thingy. Which again is one of those things. Yeah, words for me don't flow very well when we're discussing design terms, but for Robin it's like sort of automatic.
Visual, aren't you, from that?
Yeah. So well, ladies, I think that was enough for today.
It was. So what was our conclusion?
Our conclusion, I guess, is first of all, understand what your goal is for your website. Work out what it is that you want and what kind of price point that website is going to come in at. Now, that can be a bit difficult because there will be people trying to charge you £5 for a website and people charging you 50 grand for a website, and finding where you are on that is a mess sometimes, but we can help with that if you want to give you assistance.
Yes, I mean, we've given people advice on different agencies to use. Absolutely, more than happy to review quotes. Understanding
what the expectations are and what the pricing expectations are for different levels of websites is really important for you. Understanding who your designer is, who your developer is, what their background is, and what extra added value you are getting for the price that you're paying. Because often you will do, if you are putting a little bit more money in, you are going to get that education piece, you are going to get that extra time to flesh out who you are as a business. And I think that's a really important part to take away as well. Anything else, ladies?
Absolutely. No, I think my biggest reminder is that it's an investment. You're not buying a product or a commodity, you're buying an investment. You're putting an investment into your business, just as if you were buying a sewing machine, a piece of machinery, stock. You're investing in your business.
And treat it like a new puppy.
I liken it to having a baby, to be honest.
I've never had a baby, so I don't know about that, but I've got kittens.
You have got kittens. Well, it's like getting that new puppy, new kitten, or going through pregnancy and having a baby, because what you end up with at the end of it is fantastic, and you're very excited about it. But the journey of getting there can be quite painful. Fun,
indeed.
And even the journey further. Well, even the growing journey as it goes on in time as well, I imagine, right? Like things are going to change and grow and not be your expectation, but you might need to change it to fit that expectation.
So what you're saying is eventually your website's going to turn into a rowdy teenager.
It can do, yes.
That's when you need to rebuild it. Once you've bolted on so much stuff that it's all over the place.
I don't think we do that with rowdy teenagers, Mum, just to be honest.
I didn't have rowdy teenagers.
I was very rowdy, thank you. Very rowdy. My street cred, what are you doing? All right.
Street cred.
Okay, I'm leaving this now. I'm out. Thank you for watching today, guys. And if you do want any assistance on understanding your website, or you want to have a discussion about what your website could look like, you can contact us via email at hello@avidmode.com or through Messenger, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We will see you next time. Bye, guys. Bye.